Hello. Welcome to Elevate Your Soul. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you haven't been here before, I'm a certified hypnotherapist. My name is Lena Gokasian. Welcome. Today I want to talk to you about I am statements. Usually, we think of that as a positive thing because I am powerful, I am empowered, I am beautiful, I am strong, things like that. But we actually don't talk a lot about the negative statements of I am. Start thinking about it. You probably use it every day without even thinking about it, right? I am so tired. I am exhausted. I am fat. I am stupid. I am hopeless. I am, all of that different things. You are not those things. You are not your fat. You are not your brain per se of saying you're stupid. That's just a concept, right? You are not your exhaustion or tiredness. You are not your feelings where you say, I am sad. Those are things that you feel, but you are not that. It does not define you. Or I am this, and this. And you tell your story. For instance, I grew up in a really poor country. I had nothing. I had no food. We lived in a 10 by 10. There was 12 people of us, and we had to fight for it. And now I live in LA and I don't have any money, things like that. Just telling the story about, like, you can say those kind of things and you think that you're telling facts about how you grew up and how you became the person you are, but it's very negative connotation, right? You can also like spin it differently because the stories that we tell somehow we identify very strongly with, and you realize that some people are actually very very hard to kind of tear them away from their own stories, because they have identified themselves as this is who I am. I've always had a hard time in love. I've always had a hard time losing weight. I've always had a hard time with like eating so much food. I've always had a hard time remaining employed. I've always had a hard time this and that, I've always been beaten up and this. So you're kind of feeding yourself into that story and energy where you're keeping yourself in that loop of energy, which is very low vibrational. And it doesn't feel good when you hear that story, right? I mean, think about it. If you were the person on the other side listening to that story, you wouldn't feel good about it. And it's not for you to make other people feel good about your story, but it is how you tell the story. If you probably take a look at or remember anybody from your past or people in your life, how they talk about themselves, how they grew up, how they become that person, you probably start to see, the differences between your stories and how you tell it and how they see their lives in perspective and how they live their life. And see, then like you can also break it down to see how their lives are now, So like compare your friends of who have a positive story to tell, see how their lives are now and how they deal with life. And then compare your friends that are negative, always negative, never have any money, are always kind of bumming off other people and that's complaining, this and that. Oh, but you don't understand. This happened to me. And see how they live their life. Is it chaotic? Is there so much drama and trauma that happens to them all the time? So kind of see, like, identify to see where the energy goes. So where the energy goes is where your attention flows, right? And then vice versa. So like how I was telling the story earlier is that you might have grown up in a very poor country in a 10 by 10 room where there was 12 people living there, and then it was extremely hard to get out of the country, and now you're in LA and you feel like you're poor. But another way of looking at it, and perhaps this is more straight facts because your story is colored by how you experienced it, how you thought that went. And if somebody else that was there was to tell you the story, they will completely see it different ways. A really good book is called Four Agreements, where he goes over the four agreements. And it kind of shows you that we all see the world through our own eyes, experiences, and filters. So therefore, you seeing the same story or hearing the same story or seeing the same movie or experiencing the same things will be completely different from how another person sees it. So that's very important to understand. So that story I was telling you about was that you could say, for instance, and it still be facts, is that yes, we grew up in a very poor country. 12 was living in a small room, but we always had food on the table and we always laughed at nighttime because our family was so cozy and we were never cold, even though it was cold outside. But because there were so many of us, we kept each other warm. And it was fun when we had to do chores. Even though it was chores, we had to go walk long walks to the river. But we got to talk about everything that we wanted in life and dream it up. And I'm so happy that we had those times where we could have that moments together with family to walk. And I also got exercise. So that's why I'm so trim and slim now. And I'm able to carry a crazy workload, being a waitress because my previous life where I grew up, I was set up for endurance. And that's amazing because actually, and now that I think about it, my managers always call me because they know that I'm never sick. I always take everything on with ease and it's so easy for me, whereas other people complain about it. So actually, it's not that bad at all. And even though I don't have that much money, I always have food on the table and I'm always surrounded with my family and happy friends. So yeah, what more do I want? Do you see the difference in the stories? Which one do you want to hear and which one do you want to engage with more? So I think that's an important understanding to know that I am can be very negative too. And if you identify to your story, that's you saying that you are your story, you are your tragedies, that's defining you, which in fact is just a story in how you saw your life. And I am tired, I am negative, I am stupid, I'm fat. That's not you either. You're not your body. It's part of you. You're not your thoughts, even though it feels like it because there's a million thoughts in there. And you're not your feelings. They're a part of you, something that you feel that gives you a sense of understanding what's going on in your body and what you need to process out. But you certainly are not defined by them. So try to be more cognitive of how you use I am and see where you can intercept it. Sorry, that was the wrong word. Intercept it and see where you can, say, I feel tired. I feel exhausted. Because now you're not identifying yourself to these feelings or exhaustion. Because when you say I am, it's almost as you're identifying I'm always exhausted. This is who I am. I'm tired. Whereas I feel exhausted, but I know I'm going to get rest soon. I know I can just sit on the couch and relax because I have earned it today. That's a different statement. So think about how you say things and how easy it is to fall back into the negative loophole that we are so used to because the society has taught us that I am statement. Yes, use I am for powerful changes and a reassociation to say I am strong, I am infinite, I am empowered, I am beautiful, I am abundant, I am wealthy, I am creative, things like that. That's a good statement because you're wiring it in as a positive statement to who you are and who you're becoming. Whereas the other way is kind of wiring in the same way, but it's not positive. You're going to keep yourself in that loop. So think about it next time. Try to intercept it. And thank you so much for stopping by. I want to say come back soon. Like, subscribe, hit the bell so you can get notified when I upload another one. Thanks for coming.